Rick Marks here, still looking at the emotional intelligence and understanding. Previous video I talked about parent and child relationship and realizing that a child doesn't have the regulation of their emotions. I want to look at this video looking at the fact that it's not about the regulation of the video, the regulation of their emotions, but it's actually also, as a parent, you can generally read their body language because they can't provide a false facade, I guess. They haven't learnt craftiness that I guess the culture, our environment and stuff teaches us as we get older, bluffing. So just a brief look at, have you ever wondered how as a kid your parents always knew when you were telling a lie or what have you? And I guess it's not to become a parent or possibly an uncle and aunt, depending on how close you are to them. But as a kid, you think you're being crafty, and yet either body language, you're giving a smirk. There's a lot of factors that goes into why you're not getting away with it, essentially. And looking at how that can also then relay and understanding the body language and understanding how you can navigate that, how you can then also understand an adult. It happens in adults as well. I'm not saying that it's just kids. I'm just saying with kids it's very raw. It's again, some people are really just bad at bluffing. Never play poker with a bad bluffer because, they'll tell you, oh, I've got a really bad hand, smiling and grinning and whatnot, or oh, I've got a really good hand, and do you know what I mean? You can read what's going on. So understanding and learning body language, and that's where I guess, based off that last comment, that look at your poker players, a lot of them are really good at reading body language and listening to that tone in that person's voice in terms of their bluff or, what they felt they needed to say on the table. Understanding humans, there are a lot of similarities, and it doesn't matter again, cultures and all that are all much for muchness in terms of how we relay, which is why you can watch a movie in another language and you can generally pick up on the vibe or mood or what have you. Even if you can't actually understand what is being said, you can go, oh, that's really romantic. What they're saying must be very romantic because, I can tell by the scene, the body language between the two characters, music in the background, whatever it be, all those elements we can put together and go, it must be a romantic scene. So once we can understand our body language and understanding our own self-awareness, and we can then move on to understanding others. And I've talked about it where we can sit in a park, we can look at other people and start to kind of go, oh, they've got a big smile on their face. Or I used to love doing it, looking at a couple, and I'd go, oh, I reckon it's their first date. And, well, why do you think it's their first date? Oh, look, you can tell that they're either, may not even be their first date, but they're pretty new lovers. They're so besotted with each other. The rest of the world stopped around them. You can get vibes and feels from, again, I don't know, and I haven't gone up to them and gone, so you guys are a new couple or something, That takes a lot to have the balls, I guess, to say that to somebody random. However, I do think that the triggers and they're there. And if we look for them and we see them, we can then start to gain the data and gain the information. And this is what then creates us to be smarter. Now, yes, we're not robots and we're not going to be able to just take all that data and information, but the more, I guess, in your head of a background you have, you can then start to overlay these other situations on top and go, I've noticed those traits before. And you do create a database in your own head of scenarios, essentially, or lived experiences, which is why as you get older, you have more in your database because you've seen a lot more in your life to be able to have accrued those emotional markers or elements where you go, that plus that equals and and you can almost be 100% on the marker with what they're experiencing because you've seen it before. And that's why, like, we look at our grandparents and go, wow, they're so smart. They've just seen a lot of life by the stage that they're at. So I just think that, again, if we start to learn how we can read other people, that then can help us. If we lower that bar of expectation, if we are looking at the body language, we're matching that, and we're looking for, I guess you could play devil's advocate and say, well, why should I not believe what words you're saying? Or you could go, I'm going to challenge the words you're saying because your body language doesn't agree. And this is where psychoanalysts and stuff, when they're looking at certain events or certain, interactions, when they're interviewing a murderer or whatever, they're reading things like the body language, the audio in their voice, they're looking at all those factors and going, that doesn't compute. Now, do we go with what they're verbally saying, or do we go with what their body is saying? Are they just trying to tell us something? People can get crafty to be able to facade what their body language is saying, but it's really hard to fabricate both, if that makes sense, and get them in tune. So I hope that you've enjoyed that. If you have, chuck some comments, thumbs up, subscribe, and you'll see me tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.